some others may join as we start. But for the most part, I believe a lot of people will watch us on demand, and it's also totally great. We're recording this webinar for that reason. I'm excited about this one because this is going to be a little bit more of a panel. I'm going to be talking with Ashley Kratschmer about something that's totally new in the marketplace, new in that it's maybe 3 or 4 years old, but really we've only been practicing it for the last couple of years. And that's programmatic. It's a big fancy word for some of the things you've been hearing in the marketplace recently using AI. And using AI in this case for a bidding strategy for media buying. And really all that's a fancy way of saying you can advertise in a digital space very effectively and cost effectively. And it's something that nonprofit organizations have been taking advantage of for the last couple of years. It used to be that it was so expensive that they couldn't. But as of maybe 2 or 3 years ago, it became very, very affordable. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So I want to introduce Ashley Kratschmer. I know, Ashley, you've done webinars in the past with PGM, but for those that are watching this maybe for the first time, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, hello. My name is Ashley Kratschmer. I've been with PGM for almost 2 years, actually. I think 2 years either today or tomorrow. So that's fun. Yeah, here we go. And so I've been working in the digital marketing space for about 5 years. I graduated from Illinois State University with a bachelor's degree in marketing. I'm really excited to be here today. I do a lot of projects that are a little bit more on the back end, the technical side for our clients, but am doing a little bit more of a front-facing role coming up in the next couple of weeks. So very excited to be here.
Yes, Ashley is PGM's technology maven.
Uh-huh.
So anything to deal with SEO, programmatic, websites, plugins, configurations, all the technology things that happen on the back end, she's quite good at. So Ashley, let's explain to listeners what the heck programmatic really means.
Yes, absolutely. I'm going to go ahead and share just a couple slides. Nothing too crazy for today. Let's go ahead and see. Okay, are you able to see this?
Yep.
Okay, so programmatic advertising, just a quick overall what it is. It's the process of digital media buying by way of automated technology. So what that means in the grand scheme of things is that this is a way for you to do digital advertising online with a lot of strategies and techniques that are performed by artificial intelligence that will place your ads in the best spaces possible without you having to really do too much manual labor with it. So it's very interesting for sure. And let's go ahead and see. There's also a couple different networks that your ads can be placed on, which is one reason why this is such a cool marketing medium. As we can see here, there's a wide variety of where they can be placed. They can be placed on Hulu, YouTube, news sites, social media feeds, your mobile apps, other websites, etc. There's 40,000 channels and platforms with ad inventory that your ads can be placed on. And the type of ads are also very diverse. So you can have ads that are for connected TV, so more video ads. You can have ads on a desktop view, on a mobile. You could even do streaming audio devices. So if you want to do like a radio ad or a placement on a podcast, you could do that. You could also do them on tablets. There's a lot of different places that these ads can be placed. And the nice thing is that the platform you use uses AI and they choose the best places for you based on your audience. So it's very cool.
So let's clarify that for a second. It can be placed everywhere, really, in a digital space. We have the inventory is out there, right? So we can place it on the connected TV and Hulu and desktop and mobile and streaming audio tablets, and every place that an ad can appear, we have access to those inventories.
Yeah.
And then it's just a matter of using AI to say which is the best place for that person that we're targeting based on demographics or one of 40,000 different parameters. And I also like to just maybe draw an analogy for nonprofits who do ads right now. Typically, a nonprofit will do an ad on Facebook. They might boost a post, or they may actually do an actual ad. And they may also do Google Ad grants, right? Which are more like text ads, and they're only on Google.
Mhm.
Facebook will have access to, let's say, 10,000 different places, ad inventories that ad can be placed, in addition to just Facebook. So what this does is it just opens it up to just about everything. And so I'd like you, Ashley, to maybe explain the platform. There's this concept of demand side platform, or DSP, as they call it in the industry. Can you explain a little bit about what that demand side platform is, what it does?
Yeah, those demand side platforms. So I'll just call it DSP moving forward. DSPs are basically like your main management hub for your ads. So we were talking about how AI is used whenever it comes to like the best placements in that regard, but you still need someone, a real person on the back end managing that, similar to how, if you were to run a Facebook advertising campaign, a LinkedIn social media campaign, a Google ad grant, you still need somebody managing that, having their eyes on it, and kind of optimizing as it goes. So your DSP that you use is very important, because you want something that's going to give you flexibility. You want something that's going to be easy to navigate, because there is a lot of different areas of programmatic that you're going to need to, check off, review, make sure everything is good. So having a DSP that is user-friendly, that gives you a lot of flexibility about how to really curate the best campaign for your goals. That's very important. And so there's a lot of different types of DSPs out there. There's different companies that offer this for people. One is called Choosel. We use one called StackAdapt. We really like StackAdapt. There's also another one called Simplify out there. There's a bunch of different ones that you can choose based on your budget. We really like StackAdapt mainly because of just the idea that we're just putting money towards our media buy. We don't have to worry about any sort of monthly payments in order to keep using that. So yes.
So StackAdapt is what free?
Yeah. I mean, yes, in the grand scheme, you still have to put money down whenever you're doing ads, and that's called your media buy. So you have to use like ad dollars when you're doing that.
But if you had like $2,000 for a media buy, it goes all towards the media buy, not towards the subscription of the demand side platform.
Correct.
So that's important to know. And this is what I was kind of alluding to before. Simplify, or I'm not going to actually say one versus another, but these demand side platforms cost, in the tens of thousands of dollars just a few years ago. And now they're very low cost. Some are under a couple $100, some are under $100. In the case of StackAdapt, because we do a lot of work with nonprofits, we want to maximize their funds. So we want to make sure that if they put $1,000 or $2,000 into a media buy, that all of those dollars go into the media buy and then goes towards the overhead subscription of the demand side platform. Or if they wanted to do it themselves, obviously we have to charge a management fee, but if they wanted to do it themselves, we would recommend that as well, and they can just do that and create those ads themselves. So yeah, an important distinction. It's one of the reasons why we like StackAdapt. I wish I had a bell here, like ding.
Yes.
Do we have a slide on what those ads might look like where they would be placed on like your desktop? Or there we go.
Yeah, so we've got, so just to give people a visual, where exactly would these show up? So if you were on a website, let's say, I always like to use weather.com as a good example, because I'm always on weather.com since we live in Illinois, and God knows when it's going to change, but it will. So I'm usually on that one a lot. So if you're on a site that allows ad space, usually your ads can show up similarly to these different types of banner ads. You've got some things on the side, these little squares. Those are usually what it looks like on desktop. And then on mobile, similar idea. So your ads can maybe be at the top, they're the ones with that little box that kind of shows like a triangle or something. All these dark blue areas are where your ads could be, depending on the type, right? So this is obviously where a video ad would go. This is where a native ad would go. Native meaning that it's a type of ad that kind of blends in with all the other content. So people will click on it thinking that it's just organic articles or something. Yeah. And then we just slide an ad, but it's still helpful for people. So that's mobile presence.
And I think what's important to note there is that when we develop ad creatives
Mhm.
for a campaign, we'll develop those ads in all different, let's say it's a graphic ad, a static graphic ad. We'll develop those ads in all the major sizes. There's usually, I think, about 10, right?
There's 10, yeah, 10 major ones.
So, and then the AI, when it does the bidding, will determine which ads will be served based on that target and that filtering and et cetera. So, and that platform. So it'll pick the right ad at the right time, basically. That's where the AI comes in, which I love. So we developed the ad creative, which is this concept, the big idea. And then we create, once that's approved, it in 10 different sizes. And again, if you have an in-house graphic designer, you can do that too. And then load it all up into the platform. You're targeting. And I think maybe that's where what we'll talk about real quick next is the targeting.
Yeah.
What does that look like? I think some people might know, like if they've never done a Facebook ad or a Facebook boost, what that targeting looks like, because you can target on a lot of different things, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I'd say, you get really nice targeting parameters on Facebook, but there's still a limitation with them, right? Being able to get really granular with it. Actually, LinkedIn has a very, very good targeting audience dashboard that you can choose from. Problem though is that LinkedIn is known for, and still known for, being one of the most expensive social media advertising platforms. So you definitely have to pay to play with that social media, which is hard, especially when you're a nonprofit and we're trying to find ways to get our name out there without breaking the bank, right? And LinkedIn wants the bank. And so the nice thing with programmatic is that we have really awesome targeting parameters. You can get very granular. I remember once we had run a campaign for a client, and we were trying to map out specifically different people that we wanted to target with specific professions, people with certain degrees that they had, different education levels. You can get really, really particular with that. And that's great. And that's why I really like programmatic as well, is because you're able to have this huge wealth of knowledge when it comes to different targeting segments. You can do it by demographics, you can do it by interest, similar to social media, but you can also use a lot of third-party segments, which basically is a partnership with your DSP where they work with other businesses that can collect data and they let you use that. And so you can actually target people that are in a very specific audience range, knowing that those are going to be people that are probably going to be more likely to be interested in your ad, which is always good because we don't want to just push ads out there to people that don't really care for them. We don't want to make it too general of an audience to where people are like, why am I getting served this ad? Like, this has nothing to do with anything that I would want. And then it's wasted impressions. You're spending money on it, which, don't spend money if you don't have to. And then people they're kind of confused as to why they're seeing this. And so that's another reason why I really like programmatic, is because those targeting parameters are right at your fingertips. And you don't have to worry about that concern of people seeing your ad and being like, what the heck is this? So.
Right. So that's an important distinction in programmatic versus, say, a Google ad too, right? Because you're showing ads to people who aren't expecting them, but you want them to be relatable to that particular ad, right? So if you're going to get a sneaker ad, you want to make sure that they've been looking at sneaker stores or sneaker sites, and there's ways to do that. So let's just spend a minute on the types of targeting we can do. I don't want to delve too much into this, but besides the 40,000 different parameters that we can do, based on income, demographics, and hobbies and styles, and whether they have kids and etc., right?
Yeah.
There's other types of targeting too. So let's just quickly define two other types. Let's define a lookalike audience,
Mhm.
and let's define I guess lookalike, retargeting, and geofencing. Let's just go over those three.
Yeah. Yeah. So geofencing, we'll go really quickly through it. So geofencing is a type of targeting that you can do where basically you are targeting people in a very specific physical location. So if you want to have a small local business and you want to do a targeting campaign for 10 or 15-mile radius from your company, then you could do that. And that way, anyone that ends up being in that 10 or 15-mile radius will get served your ads. So that's geofencing. And then the retargeting lookalikes. So lookalike audiences are basically like if you were to run a campaign before, and then you're starting a new campaign, you can target a similar audience you had done before, or a similar audience that would also find your campaign relevant. And then retargeting is basically targeting people that have already interacted with your ads before, and then serving them those ads again. So for example, whenever you're doing a display advertising campaign, usually you are targeting, again, that really big, nice, detailed audience that you've come up with. And sometimes people might see your ads, it kind of, they like it, cool, but they don't actually click on it. Maybe they're like, I'm not too sure, I'm not going to worry about that right now. So we make sure that we retarget those same people with ads to see if maybe we could put it back in front of them. Maybe they'll think about it more, or maybe they'll remember like, oh yeah, this is something I wanted to look into. I was just in the middle of something when I first saw this ad. And that's really helpful to get in some extra impressions, some extra clicks from people who maybe initially didn't have time, weren't too sure when they first saw the ad.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anybody who's dabbled in marketing knows 6 touches, right?
Yeah.
6 touches to get a reaction. So
exactly.
Targeting certainly helps with that. And we can actually take it a step further. Programmatic demand side platforms let you do retargeting in such a way that if they visited a certain page on your website, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we've all seen this before, right? We've talked about something in front of Alexa, or our phone's listening to us, or we visited a web page. It's like, we're just going to sneak over here and just see what this product's really about, just real quick, and then I'm going to get out. Next thing you know, you're being served ads about that very same thing on your Facebook feed, or in the middle of Candy Crush, or while you're watching the weather, right? So we've all experienced that. That's called retargeting, and that's only possible through these demand side platforms. And there's a technology that goes on behind the scenes that, of course, Ashley is very familiar with, called a pixel. That it's basically a piece of tracking code on the web page that then follows you through your browser experience, or Alexa experience, or Siri experience, or Cortana, or whatever voice search you use, etc. So that's, and a retargeted, to paint a picture there, like if you're a painting company and you want to target anybody who walks into a Home Depot, and then you want to serve them an ad within 30 minutes of walking into a Home Depot, that's how granular you can get, right? And why Home Depot? Well, maybe somebody was thinking about doing it themselves, and then, but are they? They're looking at paint colors, they're getting a little overwhelmed. That's a time to hit them and say, hey, you can hit the easy button and just have us paint it for you, and maybe get a quote. So just real quick on the targeting, between retargeting, geofencing, and the lookalike audience. Lookalike audiences too, it's kind of neat, because if you don't already have a campaign in place and running, you could upload your email list, and the lookalike campaign, the display side platforms like Facebook and others knows if those email addresses are online and in the digital space, and if they are, and if they have profiles, which they have hobbies and likes, and we know their browsing history, we could then look at other people that have that same browsing history and likes and hobbies, and build another lookalike audience based on that. So that's pretty cool. If you have a good email list, nonprofit companies out there, then that's definitely a tool that you can use to build a bigger audience based on that audience that you already have. And I would say maybe at least 1,000 email addresses would be a good sampling. Okay, so to kind of we're rounding the hoop here. I want to give people an idea of what the difference is between this programmatic ads and Google ads. When to use one versus the other, and it kind of gets into the pros and cons of each.
Yeah, so basically, Google Ads in the grand scheme with nonprofits, right? So for nonprofits, you are actually, and if you don't know this, take notes because this is important. Nonprofits, if you are a registered 501c3 organization and you go through a quick application process with Google, you can actually apply for their Google Ad grant, which gives you, and I'm not exaggerating, $10,000 of ad money every month for free. Every month, which is great. However, the only problem with that is that you are segmented to only being able to use Google search text ads. So the two differences that I would say between that and what we're talking about with programmatic, one is that because of that, you are only limited to just text ads, whereas programmatic, you can use whatever you want. You can do display ads. You can, I think, do still search ads like that, or you can do video campaigns, or you can do radio placements, or you can do native campaigns. You can do a bunch of different types. So that's one difference there. The other thing with Google is that Google is attracting a different subset of an audience. So we've all, if we've taken a basic business class, basic marketing class, we've heard about that funnel, right? Where we're talking awareness phase is this large group of people that might not know too much about your organization, but they kind of know. And then as you get down closer, or I guess this should be more of like a search results kind of a funnel. So you've got people that don't really know what they're looking for. They've never heard of your product or service. Then you've got a certain type of person who knows about a type of product. So they know about sneakers. I know about sneakers. I know about this kind of service. But I still don't know about your involvement with that service or that product. And then you have this, yeah. And then you have this narrow group that knows specifically about the product and service. They know specifically about you and your relation to it, and they're wanting your specific product and service. So that's our funnel. So why do I say that? Because Google, with those text ads, is specifically attracting people in that middle group. It's the group that they know what they want, but they don't fully know what your organization can do for them. So and when I'm Googling, I need new running shoes. So I'm typing that in. I know what I need. I need running shoes. What I don't know is that maybe your organization can offer them for me, or maybe your organization offers some sort of deal with them, or maybe your organization is a part of a donation where, you know, if you buy a pair, we give a pair to a family in need. So that's kind of the group of people that you'd be targeting with a text ad from Google. It's people that know what they want, but they don't know how you can specifically help them. Whereas, yeah,
just to interject for a second, what we're hearing then is Google ads are for people that are searching for something right now.
Yes.
They know they want running sneakers. They want to see what's out there, and they're going to be presented with a list of brands and et cetera.
Yes.
And then they can make a choice based on how clever the ad is, et cetera, and what resonates with them. Whereas programmatic is not for people who are searching right now, because all of a sudden they're playing Candy Crush, or they're looking at the weather, or they're looking at the news.
Yep.
They'll be presented with an ad, and yes, it's targeted, so it's going to be something that they're interested in, but they're not necessarily looking to buy right now because they're in the middle of a game, or they're in the middle of looking at the weather and being disappointed once again by Chicago weather. So that's a good state. So if that's the case, people who aren't looking right now versus people who are searching right now, I think programmatic is really better suited for a building awareness campaign, whereas Google ads are really for conversion. However, programmatic does convert really well. But let's give everybody a really transparent look right now what the numbers are. Right, everybody knows that if you do a Google ad, grant or otherwise, we know that 3% click-through rate is the magic number. So whatever your impression count is, if you're spending that $10,000 of free money, by the way, free money, and if you are a legitimate 501c3, you will get the grant. It takes about a month or two, and you will get access to that $10,000 in free money. And yes, there are some caveats with that and compliance issues, but definitely manageable. You're going to get 3% and maybe as high as 7% on a click-through rate. So if you are going to use $10,000, you're going to get 100,000 impressions. I'm just making this number up, but 100,000 impressions, you're going to get 3 to 7% of those 100,000 people clicking and going to the landing page of your choice that you want them to. Programmatic has a much less click-through rate, right? What's the national average on that? 0.1.
Google has a lot lower CTR. So Google CTR is like point.
No, Google is 3% to 5 to 7%. I think
That's right. 0.12%. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So 1/10 of 1%. So if you're choosing 1/10 of 1% on programmatic versus 3 to 7% on Google, you're saying, oh my gosh, the obvious choice is Google. Well, not so much, because if you're building an awareness campaign, your impression count is through the roof on programmatic. And yes, while you have 100,000 impressions times 0.12%, 0.12%, which is, I can't do the math in my head, but it's, I think if it's 100,000, it would be 112 clicks, I believe. Which, by the way, if we're managing your campaign, we always exceed that by 3-fold. But let's just go with the national average. You're like, okay, you're going to get at least 112, but they're going to be these are people that are presented with ads. They don't want to act right now, but if they click on it, you resonated with them somehow and they're ready to act, right? So that's the distinction. So let's give listeners just a taste of, do we have like a sample campaign?
Yeah, so this was a sample forecast. So another nice thing with programmatic is that, similar to Google Ads, you can get some sort of estimate before you even run a campaign and put money down, which is really nice. We find that programmatic is a little bit more specific. You can get a little bit more of a closer idea of what your estimated results would actually be. So this is an example of a forecast for a client A, I guess we could say, who was doing a conference promotion. They wanted to use programmatic to promote the fact that they had this conference for people in a certain region. So they have like their different settings laid out, their pricing, what they're able to spend, the audience parameters, and then we gave them this. And so with a 0.12% CTR, we were estimating that they were going to get around 267,000 impressions and over 300 clicks to your website. We ended up exceeding this. I don't think I've got that slide on hand at the moment, but we did end up exceeding this. Yeah, but we do.
It's important to note that impressions are people, eyeballs that actually see the ad, right?
Yes.
That's where the awareness comes in, and you multiply that by 0.12%, you get 321 clicks to the website, which not the homepage necessarily. In this case, it was their conference page to sign up and register and pay money, actually convert those people. And this is a budget of what, 2,000?
Yeah, 2,000 a month for a 1-month campaign.
And what are the typical ranges of budgets that we've seen over the last 2 or 3 years for nonprofits? Yeah,
so usually I go by a per month basis. I've seen things as low as 1,000 and as high as 5,000. You can obviously do lower or higher if you want. I think we might have even had like a 2-week, like a real quick campaign with like 500 budget. I don't know for sure, but that sounds familiar to say. So
it gives people an idea of like where, like between 1,000 and 5,000, I think $2,000 and $3,000 a month for a month or longer. Is a good sweet spot.
Yes,
we've seen 3-month campaigns, 2-month campaigns. We've seen quick. You just mentioned a couple, like 2-3 week campaign.
Yeah.
So that's important to know. If you hire an agency like us, we charge 20% on top of that to manage and twist the dials, etc., to optimize the campaign over the lifetime of it and make sure it gets way more than the 0.12% national average. And then it's 20% or $1,000, whatever's greater. So if you're only spending $2,000, it's going to be $1,000 to manage the fee. And then, of course, whatever it takes to design the graphics. We have clients who do it in-house. They have their own graphic designer. And then for those that don't, an agency like ours can do the graphic design and create those 10 different sizes for you. Each demand side platform is different in terms of their size requirements. But they're published and they're public. So I like the idea that programmatic or Google ad grants, that because people live in the digital space now, we can get these numbers and these estimates before you even decide whether it's right for you or not. You say,
Yeah.
all right, Paul, I want to throw, or Ashley, actually, because you're the one doing it, really. I'm going to throw $2,000 at this. What kind of impressions can I get based on these targeting parameters? And
Yeah.
please suggest more to get the right audience that we need. Of course, you do all the research and analysis for the audience and the filters, and come back with a slide similar to this, and then you can decide, well, $2,000, I'm going to get 321 clicks, but I'm going to get all these eyeballs on it. I don't know if it's going to, maybe we need to look at another channel, or no, this is great. This is exactly what we want to do. And it really depends on the campaign that you're running and what you hope to achieve out of it, whether you're trying to sell registrations for an event promotion, or you're trying to just build awareness about a new exhibit that you might have in your thing. So yeah, why does it matter? Let's wrap up with that.
Yes, it matters. Well, first of all, nonprofits are using it for all those different things. Like you were saying, you could do public service announcements, event promotions, conversion campaigns, awareness campaigns. But at the end of the day, the real reason why this matters is because you're getting transparency. You're getting to see how many people will see your ad, how many clicks you'll get to your website before you commit to spending any money. And this is they're pretty accurate estimations, again, whenever we're comparing it to Google. So yeah, at the end of the day, that's the big thing, because we know that times are hard, and obviously we want to make sure that we give, as an agency, the best idea of what any sort of digital advertising, but in this regard, programmatic, we want to make sure that you understand fully what it is that your money can do. And so that's one big thing that we like about this, is that you get the results, you can use it for specific nonprofit goals, and up front pretty accurate estimations. Now, obviously, there's still estimations, so we're not going to say, this is exactly what you're going to get.
Never guaranteed, but I've been for 2 years now, as of today, and I've known that you've always exceeded those expectations, because you're at the dial. You're always optimizing a campaign. That's where we make our money.
Right. Yes.
And, anybody who does digital advertising, whether you're doing Facebook or Google or programmatic or whatever, know that you're going to get those estimates ahead of time, and you can beat those estimates. That's the game, really, right? In digital marketing, you're always going to try and beat those estimates. National average is 3%, right? That's the lowest you should really get on a Google campaign. And you get 7%, and then see at the end of the month that you've got 7 or 8 or 9% on a CTR or click-through rate conversion, is something to be very proud of. And it's something to beat the following month, and tweak those ads even further, and do dynamic ads. And that's another webinar for what that even means in the Google world. But think of it as A/B split testing, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's programmatic in a nutshell. Any other final parting thoughts, Ashley?
Off the top of my head, no, definitely.
I think we
I
covered
feel like
it
we
all,
did
really.
a good overview, but we do have, and it's kind of a perk for people that join this webinar, but we do have more information about programmatic. I'll send it back to you, Paul, that people can check out.
We actually haven't officially launched our podcast, a new podcast that we started. We haven't officially launched it yet. It's going to be launched in just a few weeks, which doesn't matter for the people that are watching this on demand. But know that we have a podcast. It's at our website, paulgregorymedia.com/podcast. It's actually live now. It's a soft launch. And we had this exact conversation, actually, but a little more of a deeper dive. So if you want to get a little bit more information on programmatic or other topics, where I think there's 5 on there now, and I think we just finished another 2 this week. So there'll be probably 8 or 10 by the time we launch this in a few weeks. But like I said, it's live now. If you want to check it out, paulgregorymedia.com/podcast. I'll put it in the chat, and or actually, if you could put it in the chat, that'd be great.
Yeah.
And well, it's a little bit more of a deeper dive into some of the technical aspects of podcasts, and we're proud to what's the word?
We're excited to be able to show you.
Promote that or whatever, before its official launch in mid-October. So enjoy that. And this webinar will also be, it's recorded. We'll have it online if you want to watch any part of it again. It'll be online, I guess, on our site. If you go to our homepage, you'll see the whole webinar section. And this will be on demand by the end of today, if there's any other part you want to go over again. So thanks for watching, everybody. Until next time, have a great week.
Yeah. Bye, guys. Thank you.